By now you've probably heard about Q from the fake news media. But where do these internet vigilantes even come from? Where do they communicate? What makes them tick? And why are they so damn comfy all the time? Q Research, home to Q, the Notables, the brightest Anons on the planet, and lots and lots of shitposting. Also this. On any given day, Anons are digging furiously on any number of topics. From decoding President Trump's tweets, using open-source intelligence methods to map out criminal networks, and shaping the counter-narrative to the lying fake news MSM. But hidden within the dumpster fire that is Q Research, there are gems such as this. It's a clock. It's called the Q clock. Have fun with that. The real secret lies in their numbers. For example, when the Office of Inspector General's report was released last year, Anons went about tearing it apart page by page. Sections were assigned and hundreds began work immediately. All in all, it took just a matter of hours. The fake news mainstream media took a couple of days to get through it all. Or the time when Q posted a link to creepy porn lawyer's website and so many people clicked it that it shut the site down. But how did such a powerful gathering of anonymous patriots get its start? The history of Q Research is not without struggle. From the first posts on Halfchan's poll board in October of 2017, Q's posts were under attack from naturally skeptical Anons and bad actors alike. Once the magnitude of the information being divulged was realized, Anons knew that the flow of information needed to be protected. So the Calm Before the Storm board was created on 8chan. Owned by patriots that believed in freedom of speech above all else, 8chan was a good choice, even though Q's Q&A sessions regularly bring the site to its knees. But even Calm Before the Storm eventually had to be left due to infighting and power trips by the board's moderators. After a time, Q Research was created, and there Q remains. So what of these Anons? Who are they? Well, that's the thing. No one knows, and they like to keep it that way. The mere fact that they could be absolutely anywhere and anyone plays to their advantage. They come from all walks of life and all professions. Even an Emmy-winning Anon stops by now and again. There are some theories as to who this is, but I'll leave that for later. If you're ready to expand your thinking, you too can take part. Though I would highly advise only lurking. And get a VPN. And don't forget to clear your cache files regularly. You know what? On second thought, just stay away. Far, far away. But if you dare, welcome, new fag. The water is warm. Don't forget to not like, don't subscribe, and don't share with anyone. Goodbye.
Looking for a fast way to track what's moving online right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas, and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here. From the Q Research boards. President Trump addresses the nation. President Trump delivered a primetime address laying out what he called early results of his administration and his next steps. He highlighted border enforcement, inflation, and President Trump's address to the nation focused on what he described as a rapid turnaround in border security, the economy, and U.S. standing overseas. He opened by saying he inherited a mess, pointing to inflation and affordability, and he argued the country was harmed by the previous administration's policies. He also raised culture war themes, including criticism of transgender-related issues and woke ideology in schools, while framing his agenda as restoring order and normalcy. On the border, Trump said his administration stopped what he called an invasion, claiming that for 7 months, 0 illegal aliens were allowed into the country. He said his administration is deporting criminals and targeting foreign drug cartels, and he claimed drugs moved by ocean routes are down 94%. He argued that strong border enforcement did not require new legislation and said the change came from executive action and a new administration. Point. On foreign policy, Trump claimed major successes in a short period. He said he settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, adding that hostages were secured and returned, both living and dead. He presented these as proof of restored American strength and deterrence, and he tied them to his broader theme that the U.S. is respected again. Turning to affordability, Trump ran through a list of price claims, arguing that costs that rose under Biden are now falling. He cited declines in car prices, gasoline, hotel rates, and airfares, and he highlighted grocery-related examples, including saying Thanksgiving turkey prices were down versus the prior year and that egg prices were down sharply since March. He also claimed wages are rising faster than inflation and said job gains since he took office have gone to American-born workers. On trade and industry, Trump promoted tariffs as a central tool, arguing they pushed companies to build factories in the U.S. to avoid tariff costs. He claimed $18 trillion in investment has been secured, with growth in areas like manufacturing, automobiles, and AI. He also previewed what he called the largest tax cuts tied to his One Big Beautiful Bill, naming no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security, and forecasting a large refund season next spring. Trump's headline announcement was a Warrior Dividend for the military. He said more than 1.45 million service members will receive checks for $1,776 before Christmas, framing it as a tribute to the nation's founding in 1776. He connected the funding to tariff revenue and recently passed legislation, and he also claimed recruiting and enlistment are improving compared to the prior year. On healthcare, Trump said he is pushing steep prescription drug price reductions under a most favored nation approach and said a first round of price cuts would begin in January via a new website, trumprx.gov. He also attacked large health insurance companies and criticized the Affordable Care Act, arguing that more money should flow directly to consumers so they can buy their own insurance. He described this as a major step toward lower overall healthcare costs. Finally, Trump emphasized energy and housing. He said he declared a national energy emergency on day one and claimed gasoline is under $2.50 in much of the country, with some states hitting $1.99. He also said his administration plans major expansion of electrical generation capacity, and he linked lower energy costs to broader price declines. On housing, he claimed mortgage costs are already down and said he will soon announce a new Federal Reserve chair who favors lower interest rates, along with aggressive housing reform plans early in the new year, RICEs, and an America is Back message tied to jobs and investment. He also framed his agenda as reversing the Biden mess and argued the country is entering a new growth phase. He paired that with new announcements affecting troops and federal agencies. SOUTHCOM strike on terror-linked vessel. U.S. Southern Command says a U.S. joint task force carried out what it called a lethal strike on a vessel tied to a designated terrorist organization in international waters. SOUTHCOM described the action as a directed operation and said it was conducted under the direction of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Border wall expansion funding. The Trump administration says it will spend billions to build new border wall miles, with reporting pointing to roughly 230 miles of additional wall work and about $4.5 billion in planned spending. The administration is pitching the plan as a security and deterrence measure and says it will accelerate construction. Immigration groups are preparing lawsuits, while border state lawmakers are split between speed, cost, and property rights concerns. House vote on minors and gender-related medical care. The U.S. House passed a bill that would criminalize certain gender transition medical procedures for minors, including surgeries and some medical treatments. The vote was close, 216 to 211, and the bill now heads to the Senate, where its path is uncertain. Supporters argue it protects children from irreversible decisions. Point. HHS ends federal grants to the AAP. The Department of Health and Human Services is ending multiple federal grants to the American Academy of Pediatrics, totaling roughly $18 million. The administration says the funding cuts are part of a broader review of federal spending and program priorities. The AAP disputes the move and warns it could impact pediatric health initiatives and research. Congressional Democrats are calling for oversight and documentation of the decision process. NASA. DiskSat and a new administrator. NASA's DiskSat program says it is preparing for an upcoming launch into low Earth orbit, describing it as a new platform aimed at expanding small satellite capability. Separately, the Senate has confirmed Jared Isaacman as NASA administrator, putting a well-known commercial space figure in charge during budget fights and major program decisions. The leadership change is expected to shape Artemis timelines, contracting strategy, and NASA's balance between science and human spaceflight. Rocket Lab Electron launch. Rocket Lab has another Electron mission in the books under the banner, "Don't Be Such a Square," continuing its cadence of small satellite launches to orbit. The company is positioning Electron as a reliable, dedicated launch option for customers who want specific orbits and timelines rather than rideshare schedules. The broader